In this exercise, we're going to create a simple chat program that includes both a server and a client. And the server can chat with the client and the client can chat with the server. So it's a little bit different than our Echo server, which was really only one-way communication in that the client could send messages to the server and the server would echo those back to the client. Now we can send messages both ways. You'll notice I've got split DOS screens here. That's because one will be for the client or the server and the other one will be for the client or the server. First, let me show you the two programs. I'm not going to type them in from scratch. They're too long and it'll take long enough just to explain how they work. So let's look at the chat server first, and we'll go through it line by line. Of course, we have our two imports for net.star and io.star. First thing we do is we set up a server socket and tell the program what port to listen on. Next, we create a regular socket which accepts incoming messages, and that's where we'll be listening for. Then we create an input object to receive input into the socket. Then we create an output object so that we can send output. And then we have a buffered reader object so that we can type in messages from the server using system.in for them to go out. We create a string variable here. Now we have a while loop that runs continuously. So the first thing we do is we wait for input from the client. If that input equals the word by, lowercase b, then we break, and that stops the program and sends us automatically to close out all of our objects. And I'm not going to go over that again. Otherwise, we write out what the client sent us, because the client will send out first. That's this line right here. Then we write a prompt saying now the server's turn. The server can now send a message. So we get the line, and then we send it to the output. And that's all there is to it. Now let's take a look at the client program. Of course, the client program imports net.star and io.star. Then we create a new socket. We provide the IP address for the server, which is our local address, and the port. We create an input object to read our input. We create an output object to be able to send output. We create another input object to be able to receive input from the keyboard, our client input. We have a variable to hold the data typed in or received. And then we have another while loop that runs while true, so it runs continuously. We prompt the user to enter some data by putting a prompt client. We receive that input from the keyboard. We write it to the server. We wait for input coming back. Then we prompt that the server has sent some input. And if that line equals by, then we break. And then, of course, if we break, then we close out all of our objects. All right, so let's take a quick look at our programs. Let's get both of our windows up. So we start the server from 1. We'll do it from here. So now the server started. I did not put a message here this time. So the client's waiting for input. So we'll say hello server to the server. The client sent hello server. So we'll say hello client. Received by the client. Client says, what's up? The server says, not much. Client says, okay, not much for witty dialogue here. And then finally, we want to end this by typing by. And that stops everything. So that's an example of a simple chat program with both a server and a client. Lots of modifications you can make to that. You can have the server receive multiple connections so that multiple clients can connect. That would probably be the biggest change so that multiple people can talk to each other. We could create a graphical user interface to make the program look prettier. But in this exercise, we've demonstrated very simple TCP/IP or socket communications, and that's what I wanted to achieve. So that wraps up this exercise, and that wraps up this chapter on network programming.